had all of that. Everybody talking about Muhammad Ali, his jab, his jab. When I worked with Muhammad Ali as a sparring partner, I tested his jab. I used to knock his jab down with a right hand and hit him with a jab. That made him faster than Muhammad. You know, he said he's the greatest. That's his opinion. He got a right to be the greatest in his mind. But in my mind, I was the greatest.
Well, I can see that.
We might have some disputes, you know, about that. Me being the greatest. But you know, 75 fights, 69 wins with only 6 knockouts, 6 losses. And some of those fights, I didn't lose, but you know how boxing is. So I take it. But the whole thing is, let me just say and make a long story short. I didn't get in boxing to be the heavyweight boxing champion of the world. I got in boxing to make some money. I mean, if you come from where I came from Georgia, Cuthbert, Georgia, which probably a lot of you probably never heard of. My dad was a sharecropper, and my mom was home having babies. And we had to do what we could do to live. We picked cotton, we shucked potatoes, peanuts, we picked potatoes. We did everything we had to do. And my goal was to make some money so that my mom did not have to do that, because Daddy left us when I was 5 years old. He hauled ass. He went to Connecticut and got him another woman and was living high off the hall. So it was just me and the rest of my family had to take care of Mama. And that's what we did. So I wanted to make some money. I didn't know boxing was going to be pretty easy after I turned pro. But after I seen these guys working and not training hard and dedicating and disciplining themselves, I said, I can go for it. I can be the heavyweight champion of the world. I says, you know, I can beat those guys. And my brother said, Larry, I don't know if you can beat Ernie Shavers. I said, man, I can beat him. If I get a shot, I can beat him. I said, I can beat Ken Norton. He said, Larry, I don't know if you can beat Ken Norton. I said, I can beat him too. And I can beat Muhammad Ali. Well, every time I went up there to fight with Ernie Shavers, my brother said, good luck. But I don't know, Larry. It's tough, it hit hard. I said, what do you think, I'm a poop butt? I don't hit hard. Well, Ernie Shavers went on down. I beat Ernie Shavers, put me in the position to fight Kenny Norton for the title. Of course, I beat Kenny Norton. I ripped my muscle in my arm, tore it up 6 days before the fight. And everybody was talking about cancel, postpone, and I said, if I do that, I'm not going to get that opportunity again. I'm going to take it down. So me and my wife and my doctor iced that arm down, and I got that arm working. Not 100%, but working enough to keep that jab and that right hand working. And I beat Kenny Norton, I became the heavyweight champion of the world. But that wasn't enough for a lot of people.
Larry, you were just, and I hope the AV guys have this ready. If you look
what happened there. Trevor Burbick, may his soul rest in peace. I know he ain't resting in peace because he was some evil ass man that's doing a lot of bad things, a lot of people that make people want to do what they did to him. That was to kill him, they did that. But just let me say that, and when he became the champion of the world, he called me up and said, Larry, I want to fight you. I said, sure, I'm not champion anymore, I'll fight you. And then he went and fought Mike Tyson. Now, Mike Tyson knocked him out. Then he want to come back with me. I said, I don't need you. I can fight guys all day long and pick up $200,000, $300,000. I don't need you. And that's what I was doing. And what happened is I started fighting somebody down in Florida. And he came to my wife and my kids. Larry Holmes messed with my woman and did this and did that in front of my wife and my kids. And that angered me.
Clearly.
You don't mess with my wife and my kids. So I lost everything. So I went over the car, thought I was Batman or Superman or somebody. So Because they wouldn't let me get to him. I wanted to get to him. When I did get to him, I kicked him and kicked him and kicked him. He said, Larry Holmes, you kicked me, you kicked me. I said, I ain't finished killing your ass yet. I'm gonna do more of that. And he ran. And I said, shit, I'm gonna get to him. And we should have seen, you'd have been proud of me. They had him all around, so I run over the car, and I jump over the car, and I give him a drop kick. Bam! Everybody thought I was hurting myself, but I didn't hurt myself. I didn't hurt myself at all, because I had a nice kick, and I fell to the ground, and of course everybody grabbed me. But I let them know that don't mess with my home. My home is my pride, my joy, my life, my living.
Hell yeah!
And not to do that. So I went after him. But that didn't make me a great fighter. That made me feel sorry for him. Because I shouldn't have done it. I lost my cool. And I try not to let too many people make me lose my cool. But I did. So that's one mistake I made. But, you know, I hope never to make that kind of mistake again. But that still don't take away from my greatness in boxing. Larry
Holmes. I say we'll get back to Larry in just a second. Next on the seniority.
Happy birthday to you.
So let's get to
How old are you now?
So let's get to the one thing right off the bat that everyone asks about. How many times a day does someone ask you about your ear?
A lot. You know, it's come a point where that people kind of recognize me by my ear. It ain't that bad.
One of the amazing things is, despite the obvious at that time bad blood between you and Mike Tyson, recently you and he were at an event and you hugged it out. You've obviously forgiven him. How do you, as a guy who had these wars with a guy who did something that ridiculous to you, how do you forgive a guy like that?
Well, forgiving is just a part of life for me. It's how I was raised. My mama said you have to forgive to move on. When you don't forgive, you just pretty much hold yourself back. And you know, I popped up in professional boxing because I was able to forgive that guy that disqualified me, and I knocked everybody out in the Olympics. You know, I'm the one that got the bad call, but because I forgave, you know, it kind of popped me up in the game of boxing. I became the cruiserweight champion in 12 professional fights. You know, it's just every time I forgive, I tend to move forward.
And you had to do some forgiving because I don't know what it was about your fights, whether it was Tyson biting you seemed to attract nuttiness in your fight. Again, if we have a clip ready, everyone has seen this before. What year was this when you were fighting and you got interrupted in the middle of the fight?
Oh, that was 1993.
1993.
Fan Man.
Fan Man. Everyone remember Fan Man? Okay, the clip is coming, but you're in the middle of a fight. You're throwing punches, and suddenly, what do you see when all of a sudden the ref jumps in the middle?
Well, actually, you know, Ready Bowman coming towards me. Here's this guy.
Someone was touched. And somebody in a parachute has just landed on the edge of the ring, has been pulled away by security guards. The fight has been brought to a halt. There's a massive melee at ringside. As this fellow with the motorized parachute has landed right on top of spectators and
Trying to get in. You find somebody trying to get out. So here's this guy coming in. He coming in at the time that I finally got Ready Bow Tie. And you know, and I found out the biggest, I finally got him to the point I was buzzing him up. And he was bleeding 3 different places. And you know, and the Fan Man came. Like that, you know, that 20-minute rest ticked me off because I realized that, oh my goodness, I got to fight another 6 round like this again because I almost had him. And all of a sudden that Fan Man saved me.
A few years ago, you appeared on TV, opened yourself, broadened your exposure to a lot of people who never really knew who you were necessarily as a boxer before. What was it like appearing on the Super Dave Osborne show? I'm kidding. What was it like? I did see that on TV the other day. if you look at the replays, there is an Evander Holyfield appearance on Super Day. Dancing with the Stars, you went on there. Did the footwork from boxing help when you were doing that?
Well, no, I'm like, you know, they tricked me into that. And because I would never, ever do that again. You know, because, you know, boxing's a tough sport, but that's tougher than boxing. You know, I'm talking about dancing 8 hours a day, practice 8 hours a day. I'm like, you know, and you know, so many things I had to, you know, I had to go back and, because I used to always tell my sisters, they taught me their feet hurt so bad that they had them high heels on. Now, and in practice, they give you some heels a little higher than mine. My feet was hurting. I had to say, please, can I just take the time to take these shoes off? Because your feet kept sliding down. So I realized that, you know, women do go through a lot of things that men don't go through. We kind of take it for granted because you don't never wear them high shoes. And man, my feet was killing me.
Evander Holyfield, the real deal. And finally, but not really finally, just the youngest man on the stage. A guy who, when he walked in today, anyone else, when they brought the fighters in, look and go, wait, is that Lennox? What happened to up here? You've joined the club with some of the rest of us. Well, why the change?
You know, it was about time. You know, because I started my locks. And I said I wanted to be the first guy with dreadlocks to be the heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah, baby.
And then it also gave me a thing to focus on. I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to like bury myself in camp, train hard, and I'm going to win because I've got a Samson-like complex.
Well, you have answered the question. Also new, you've answered the question. As I say, you were on my radio show this week, and I know I asked you this. I'll ask you again for people who didn't hear it. You were at...
You know what I mean? That's a lot of money. But I mean, you know, the price is put out there. If they want the legacy, that's what it's going to cost.
Talk about your legacy. One of your first real moments jumping onto the Canadian public stage was in the 1988 Seoul Olympics when you won the gold medal, the last Canadian to win a gold medal in boxing. That also, though, you did that right around the same time. Some of you will also remember another story that happened in Seoul when Ben Johnson, name ring a bell? Ben Johnson had his whole thing happen. How much did that take away from the focus on you? How much got lost to you in the whole Ben Johnson fiasco?
Oh, jeez. I think a lot because, you know, winning the gold medal and being the only one to win a gold medal in over 150 years was a big deal for me, and I really wanted to accomplish that. And it was funny, the same day that I won my medal, everybody was telling me, oh, take off your Canadian uniform. I'm like, what for? Take it off, don't worry. Take it off. I'm like, take it off? What are you talking about? They said, well, the press is going to come after you. I said, what for? And then I found out the whole situation. It was sad to know this is when, you know, drugs was really a big factor. And, but I'll tell you what I did do after that. I took a trip around Canada. I went to Vancouver, Edmonton, I went all over the place. I was being hugged by old people. And I was like, yo, you watch the boxing? They're saying, yeah, they were just hugging me and thanking me because, you know, although the situation happened with Ben, you know, they said, well, I was the light that kind of made everything a little better, so I was proud of that.
You are right. Absolutely. You have started a business venture or a boxing venture. You've been involved in boxing. You do commentary for BBC. You've opened up a training center in Montego Bay. But you've started a new project called In Search of Champions, where you are now scouring the world to find the next you, possibly. Tell people about what you're doing.
Well, you know, the next Evander Holyfield, the next Larry Holmes, the next Mike Tyson. What I'm actually doing, I'm sending out, you know, the word on the road, the word on the street, that I'm looking for that next best heavyweight champion, somebody that's going to determine himself and dedicate himself to boxing, listen, because what I find now, you know, the guys right now, they're kind of spoiled in one sense. They don't know about hard work, going to camp, months and months of dedication without any life from the outside world. This is what you have to do. This is what we did to become champions. When you talk to the younger guys nowadays, they're rather put tattoos on their arm and, you know, go out there and showboat and not really deal with the sweet science of the sport. I'm seeing heavyweights out there that are throwing 1-2s to try and knock out the heavyweight champion of the world. And even the heavyweight champion of the world right now is not doing the proper job, because I'm real critical of him as well. And you know, part of the reason why I think he's kind of lacking a bit is because he's missing a great trainer. And my great trainer was Emmanuel Stewart, bless his soul. He was a great trainer. A lot of people didn't have the opportunity to train with this man, but he would make it seem easy, the way how he talked to you, things he had to say. But yes, the world would definitely miss Emmanuel Stewart.
Okay, Lennox Lewis, everybody. Canada's last great heavyweight champion.
Pain. You don't let your arm hang. You want to rest. You want to get over your rest. Trainers don't know how to train fighters because they ain't never been a fighter. They ain't never been in the position to be a champion. Being a champion is not easy. But being a champion, if you do the things that you taught to do, you'll be champion for a long time. I was champion for 7.5 years because I didn't listen to my trainer. If I would listen to my trainer, I wouldn't have been champion that long. Because I tell you why, and I'm serious about this. Fighters will get up in the morning at 5:30 in the morning, at 6 o'clock in the morning, and run 5 miles. For what? You're tired. You need to go, you need to stay in that bed till you rest, and then you need to get up, and then you go run. Run 2 or 3 miles. Why run 5 miles? Horses don't even run that far. Why? You don't need to, you need energy when you get into that ring. You need to be able to fight when you get in that ring. And they say to you, the fighter, eat breakfast. A small breakfast with toast. Eat a steak, shit. Eat collard greens, cornbread, whatever you want to eat when you got to fight, because you need the energy. If you don't have no energy in your body, you're not going to perform. And a lot of these fighters, they go out there, they work hard all the time and get in the steam room with sweat, lift weights and all that stuff. You don't do that. I didn't do none of that stuff. Why would I want to do it? I know what I got to do. You know? And see, that's why I'm saying, and I know trainers. I thought I had the best 3 trainers in the world. Freddie Brown, Ray Arcel, and Eddie Futch. There's 300 years of boxing right there, because they were over 80 and 90 and whatever. But they know boxing. But guess what they didn't know? They didn't know anything about conditioning. They didn't know, they would tell me, yeah, go run 5 miles. So they'd tell me run 100 miles. If I do it, it's me being the fool. I don't run no 100 miles. I go out there, if I feel like running a mile, I run a mile. Because you get up early in the morning and you run, 3 o'clock come, you go into the gym and do the same thing. And the boxers get in the gym, what they do? They shadow box, jump rope, and box 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rounds. For what? Why you want to box all them rounds for? Get hit upside your head. It don't make no sense. And you know, I tell fighters this, and I try to tell people, don't do this, but they don't want to listen, so that's them walking around. That's them. But fighters can't be out there doing some of the things and leaving all their energy in the ring, or leaving all your energy on the road. You know, you got to get out there, you got to save it. If you want to get in that ring, be like Lennox Lewis right now, he's strong right now. Probably ain't in no shape, so 4 or 5 rounds, you're tired. But if he go out there and fight just like he is now,
sleep, that's the reason why you stay back.
I found it gives you an edge if you don't do it.
If you don't do it.
If you don't do it, if you stay away from it for like about
that must be your wife like that.
Let me tell you, when you leave camp and you know, haven't been connected to the public and your friends and obviously sex and everything, it's like when you get off the mountain, it's like you catch a flag. It's like you're ready to go in there and fight. And you know, I think for me, it helps me, but for other people, it helps, you know, sometimes you've had sex, you can go out and break records. It depends on how it affects you.
Well, with me, I realized I brought in the Word of God, And I realized that most people, if they actually tell people not to because they know that a person would do anything, they get weak because they chased the girl for all that time. They had to get drunk, they had to do all that just for the girl to be with them. That's the reason why, if you have a wife, you ain't got to prove nothing. Just get it and go to sleep. And that's, that's it. You ain't working hard.
You know, I was the same way. When I started, they used to tell me that don't have sex before the fight. And I went 35, 40 days without sex. And then when I learned that I didn't have to do that, and I felt just as good or better when I did it, I wanted to kick his butt for telling me not to have sex. All those days that I missed, and I could have been enjoying myself.
George, let me ask you this question. In fighting, it is...
I hope I don't offend nobody. I'm sorry.
No.
If I make anybody mad, I'm sorry. I got my 3 bodyguards right here.
George, fighting is sometimes a very cruel sport. There are people who, I mean, it is cold. You're trying to knock a guy out most of the time. Are there ever times, though, when you're in the ring, when you see that your opponent is hurt, when you see that he's wobbled, you see he's about to go down, where you've got him against the ropes and you're just pounding on him and he's not going anywhere and you know he's done? Is there ever a part of you that says, you know what, I don't want to keep hitting him. I wish the ref would just stop in. I wish there was some, is there some compassion ever in boxing?
If you feel compassion, then you're in the wrong business. You know, if you reverse the positions, you have to figure out what he would do to you if he has you in that position. So, if you have that kind of empathy for other people, boxing isn't for you. You know, I mean, it's kind of strange. I've knocked guys out, and they're laying on the canvas knocked out, and they're counting over them, and they drag them back in the corner, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I haven't thought out emotionally. I haven't thought out where I would feel any compassion for him. I don't. You try to kill a guy. You feel like you want to kill him. You feel like they talk about killer instinct. That's what they talk about. You feel like killing a guy. Now, I don't want to kill anybody, but you're in that kind of mood where if you don't knock him out, he's not going to knock you out.
You wanted to bite him like Mike Tyson did, didn't you? You wanted to take a bite out of him too.
Well, you know, I'm talking, in the game, it's just like this. If I get a guy hurt, I'm putting him out. It don't make no difference who he is. If it's my brother, I would put him out. I think if you helping the guy to get him out of there, well, he gonna have to take the beat that you gonna put on him. Cause I know that's how it is.
No, you wanted to bite the guy like Mike Tyson did too.
No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that because it's cheap. I do not cheat. But I will bust you up. I will bust you up. You blink your eye, you close that eye and say, you know it. I'm trying to hit you with something.
You're mercenary, aren't you? You're a killer.
Huh? I'm not a killer. I understand that I'm supposed to give my all. If any chance you show me that you tired, I rise up and feel the strong.
Larry, it's funny that you're saying this because of all the guys up here, when you fought Muhammad Ali and you watched the tape of that after, you watched the clips, now, I mean, clearly you beat that guy senseless for most of that fight. Afterwards, you were very emotional about beating that guy. Now, I know you had a history with him, and I know that he was nearing the end of his career, but you were a guy who looked like, when you were done, you had felt that level of compassion for that man.
Yeah, I said to myself, damn, you only got 3.5 million, you should have gotten more. I was crying, man. I gave him all the damn money, man. I'm married, and I got 5 kids. I got 4 great-grandkids and 4 grandkids. And I got a big family, man. I wondered, damn, can we have a rematch? No, I'm just joking.
But you did feel badly for the guy at the end of that fight.
Well, I feel bad about it because, first of all, he was my friend and he was my idol. And I understood the situation that he was in. And he didn't want to fight me. And I did not want him to fight me because I didn't know how I had to win. I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't, you know. You beat an old man, you win, you know. And if I lose, you never was nothing. Because I had that name had followed me around that I had no heart, that I couldn't fight. I was just a copy of Ali. I would never be able to beat Ali. So therefore, if I beat him, they say, well, you beat old man. Or same thing, if I lost, they say, you never win nothing. So, you know, throughout boxing, through my 38 years of fighting, I ain't never been really appreciated in the game of boxing. I think a lot of you know it because I followed behind a guy like Muhammad Ali. I didn't get the recognition that I would have.
And Larry Holmes is beginning to get frustrated. He shoved it in his corner. He thought he'd have an easier time with the kid in terms of knocking him out. Meantime, Dr. James Santor in the ring position. Came in between rounds. Examined Snipes' damaged left eye. Okayed it. The fight continues.
That's an example, but you didn't always get the recognition as a guy who followed someone who many people still consider the greatest fighter of all time.
Well, you know, everybody got a right to go and think what they want to think, but I know who was the greatest if you're looking at him right now. but with this guy, with Snipes, I was thinking about Jerry Cooney, because that was the fight after Jerry Cooney. I was thinking about this guy, he put one in on me, but guess what? He soon apologized for it because I took him in the corner and beat him up. And you know, when I got mad, and did you see the body on that Larry Holmes guy? The muscles on that Larry Holmes guy, the speed of hands on that Larry Holmes guy. I was a bad man.
Lennox, when you get to the top of the mountain, when you become the heavyweight champion of the world, I've got to guess that not only are there a lot of people that suddenly become very attracted to being around you, but there are a lot of temptations, there's a lot of things that can go wrong pretty quickly unless you have some discipline. How much changes when you become the champion? What changes, not in the ring, but in your personal life, outside the ring?
Yeah, definitely you get more admiration, your friends become closer, you get new friends.
Real friends or just hanger-on friends?
Well, it's hard. When you're in that position, it's hard to tell who are your real friends and who are your new friends. I think one of the things that is apparent is, you know, it's really hard to become heavyweight champion, but it's even harder to keep it. So it's not easy to get to the top. It's not easy when you're there. And, you know, there's different situations that can turn up even when you're heavyweight champion. People are always coming at you, so you have to make sure that you don't get into any fights. You know, it didn't happen to Mike Tyson because he had bad people around him that didn't really love him like that. But for me, you know, good home upbringing, my mother, you know, I know that my mother would hate for me to hear that, oh, you been fighting on the street again? This is bad, you know. So I just didn't want that look from my mom to say, that's bad. So that's what really kept me on the straight road.
George, all of you guys came from modest or lower backgrounds. There's nobody who came from silver spoon background who's sitting on the stage right now. When you...
No, I just put it like it. We was poor.
Oh, well, I said modest or lower.
Modest, poor. We was bad.
When you got your first real money, when boxing puts some actual money into your pocket, how hard is it not to lose your mind and go crazy with the money when you have it for the first time?
I never made big money fighting. The only time I made big money was a couple of real estate investments. I had almost 100 fights, 93 fights or 97 fights, whatever. I never made $1 million gross.
What was the most you made for a fight?
$65,000.
Wow, okay.
I'll leave the second guy. That was by far my biggest purse. I made a lot more money than that just fooling around with real estate, and I'm okay. I don't have to work. I don't have to work anymore, so I feel okay. I'm happy about that part of my life. But I didn't make money fighting. No, I did.
Evander, you made probably
Let me just say this: when I had a manager too, who kind of messed me up a little bit. When I fought Muhammad Ali, just think, I fought Muhammad Ali. A lot of people say was one of the greatest. Well, a lot of people say he's the greatest champion. Larry Holmes would say he's the second best champion.
I'm the first.
Anyway, when I fought Muhammad, my manager was also a promoter in the fight, and he had first dibs on the money. So I read an article in the Toronto Globe and Mail one time, about 20 years after I fought Muhammad the first time in Toronto. I fought him on March 29, 1966. This is about 20 years later. A guy called William Houston, wrote an article where he had access to the accounting books at the Maple Leaf Gardens when I fought Ali. Ali is supposed to get, this is, back in '66, so money wasn't around like it is today. He was supposed to get $149,000. I was supposed to, $150,000, excuse me, and I was supposed to get $49,000. Well, I didn't get $49,000. My manager got a hold of the money first. He took, we had a 50-50 contract. He paid all the expenses and everything else, and I'd get 50%. He'd pay my trainer out of that and other expenses. But anyway, I got, after I was supposed to get, let's say, $49,000. He took for himself as a promoter. He had first dibs on the money. He grabbed $24,000, put it in his pocket, and then they took half of the $25,000. So I got $12,500 to fight Muhammad Ali 15 rounds. And then after I paid my taxes, I figured I got about $700 a round to fight Muhammad Ali, the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. That's the kind of manager I am. I talk about that in my book. I kind of exposed him a little bit. He likes to think that he was a philanthropist, that he was anyway, so he thought that he liked to pass himself off as a guardian angel to a lot of people. He was far from my guardian angel. I mean, I have a tremendous amount of hanging for him. He robbed me, robbed me, and it's all in the book. He's going to have a stroke. He's 90 years old. He's probably going to have a stroke and die when he reads it right up in reads my book. I don't know. I don't know why he's like that. He was like that with my sparring partners. He tried to rip off my sparring partners all that. I have a history of that. Guys crying to me, it's George. He's not ripping off. He's promised me $500 for this, $500 for that. I end up with $150, and he won't give me the other $350 or whatever. It's always little chisel cheat stuff. And I'm involved with a guy. It hurts me. I think that I would ever get involved with in the first place. But after a few years, I was fighting. I didn't realize he was ripping me off. Same way until I found out later, sometime after it all happened. In Ontario, you can't promote a fight and be a manager at the same time. But he would do it anyway. He'd just buy his way in there, and he'd promote and match at the same time. And he has first dibs on the money. So. And I don't know how many other fights he would rip me off for. When I fought Ali, I just laughed at myself. I say, people say, "Oh man, you fought Muhammad Ali for the world title. Man, you must have made a ton of dough." You know what I mean? Well, I would only made $49,000, but still $49,000 back in 1966 wasn't bad money. So, but he took 24. Let's see how many. He ended up with 37.5 in his pocket. I ended up with 12.5.
Evander, you hear him say,
and I ended up with 12. And I ended up up to 49,000.
You hear George say he fought Muhammad Ali for 65,000. If we did the math of some of your fights, 65,000 was probably 10 seconds or a second. When you are standing, and again, we go back to the fact about boxing being a tough game. When you're standing outside, you're ready to come into the ring. You're at Caesar's Palace. You're wherever. There's a huge crowd. There's money on the table. You're fighting a guy who you know wants to knock your head off. Money or not, when you're standing there just ready to come in, is there ever any fear?
Not with me. I'm like, I realize that, winning is the ultimate thing for me. I love winning. I think winning is just a part of life, how you're supposed to think. Like this, I had a mother who was just very strict about doing your very best. So when you usually do your very best, winning is there somewhere.
But there's no butterflies, there's no...
Butterflies, yeah, man. I'm telling you, these are things that you're going to have anytime you want something. You're going to have something that allows you... I can be walking the ring, my leg is shaking, You know, my ear may start hurting, I may get a cramp in the neck, like this, but it's a performance. So you come in, when I come, I walk in the ring, and I pretty much know what the people want, because the people, they want to see somebody look like they gonna win. Yeah. So you know, so my whole thing, I hold my breath and I pull everything up tight. You know, I give them side profile, I give them that look that I don't hurt them, say they want to see. You look at his face, you put that, he put that little frown, he look here like that, you know, my heart beating fast, do, like this and stuff like that. I just can't wait till them ring the bell where I can get the thing on. But you know, that's a show, you got to pretend that you feel good even when you don't feel good.
Yeah, go ahead, Lennox.
No, I was going to say, go ahead, give me a hand for that. Yeah, I was going to say that, you know, the first time I fought Evander Holyfield, I was upset. I was upset when I watched him coming into the ring. Why? Because he was singing. That's the first time somebody came in singing, and I was going to fight them. So
He was praying.
I was like, he's singing?
Praying.
Oh, okay. To me, that's a cheek. Bloody cheek. Singing, and he's fighting me. So, yeah. Anyway, but I noticed the second fight he wasn't singing. It was more serious, actually. So, but that shows that, you know, what he said, he didn't have no fear. He was coming in singing, but I took that as like, this got me upset.
Who was the one? We'll go down the list. We only have a few minutes left. We gotta get going. But everyone, take a stab at this one. In your career, the one fighter, when you were standing in the ring ready to have the fight, the one fighter that worried you before the fight the most?
Well, I don't look at the word, but I was more concerned about Lennox because his style. Because I couldn't get him to do what I wanted him to do. I wanted him to fight me. Because I know that's the only way I can get a chance to hit him. But he had the long range and he was sneaky about how he did things. You ain't know he gonna catch with a right or throw the uppercut. Or what he gonna do is he gonna put his weight on you like this. So he very knowledgeable. He was the most knowledgeable fighter that I ever fought. Because he fought his fight and there wasn't nothing I could do to get him to fight the way that the way I want to fight, that I would have a battle. And so Len was the only person that way. With everybody else, I was able to make an adjustment.
George, what about you? Who was the fighter when you got in the ring that concerned you before the fight, that you were most either worried or concerned or whatever about?
Well, I wasn't concerned before the fight. I got concerned during the fight. I fought Joe Frazier with a bad eye. I shouldn't have fought Joe Frazier when I fought him, but I did. I fought him on, I think, July 1967. But on June 22nd, a month before the fight, I fought in Missoula, Montana. And I knocked out a guy called Archie Ray. He was from Phoenix. Anyway, I threw a left hook to the body, and I hit him right in the shoulder punches, and he jackknifed. And his head went down like this, and he hit me on my cheekbone, on my left cheekbone. And as we were counting him out, my eye was swelling up. And anyway, after the fight, because I had only less than a month to fight again in New York, in the Garden with Joe Frazier, I was saying to my trainer and my manager, I think my eye's kind of bad. I'll see what happens. I'm going to start sparring. And every time I get hit, and my eye would kind of give me a little trouble, swell up rather readily, easily. So I said, maybe we should postpone the fight for a while. So my manager said, no, we got to go to New York. If we don't get a crack here with Joe, maybe because if I beat Joe, I would have fought Buster Mathis for the New York State version of the heavyweight title. So anyway, they appealed to my macho side, said, I'll be all right, I'll be all right. But I wasn't all right, because my eye, every time I'd be hit in training, would pop up. So in the fight, I did okay the first 2 rounds. A lot of guys gave me the first 2 rounds and said I won the first 2 rounds. And in the third round, I got hit with a left hook and shut my eye tight, just like that. I go back to the corner, and the referee checks my eye. I had the doctor come over, so well, let me go back out for another round, see what happens. So I went out, and then I got hit with Joe. I got 1 out in the center of the ring. I remember feeling like a one-eyed cat peeping in the seafood store, kind of like this. When you only look out with one eye, your balance isn't the same. And I remember just going out like this here. Anyway, I got hit. We were exchanging punches. Then I got hit with the left hook. My eyes shut completely tight, and then another left hook drove my eyeball. Excuse me. My eyeball projected forward ahead of my eyebrow about a half an inch. My eyeball looked like a one-eyed Marty Feldman. So then my eyeball was sticking out, so I got hit with the left hook. As soon as I got hit, it went to the object floor. And I turned my head, and I was in obvious pain. I just turned, that was my natural reaction. And fortunately, the referee stopped the fight at the time. If he didn't, another shot, I would have been blind forever. In the meantime, I always laugh at myself because now I have this piece of plastic silicone holding my eyeball up. I had an operation, they put a piece of plastic silicone holding my eyeball up. And I always think sometimes, you know, when you get older, you think about dying a little more than you do when you're younger. So I'm 76 years old. I say, well, am I going to get cremated? I said, I don't think so. I think I'll just go to regular weight, 6 feet under. And I'm thinking, one day, all those little ligaments or tendons, whatever, holding my eyeball up, holding the silicone up, my eyeball is going to rot away, and then the piece of silicone will drop at the bottom of my skull, be a little clunk.
I don't know, that's which was your grade.
Think about that when you're that's what's going to happen eventually. A little clunk. I won't hear it, of course, yeah, but anyway.
Larry, who was the guy? Who was the guy when you were in there?
Wait a minute. I'm not going to stop him from talking. Do you finish? Are you finished?
I thought he was dead by now, so he's talking about the clean.
No. I forgot what the question was.
When you were in the ring, who was the fighter that you were most either focused for or worried about or anything?
You know what? I think I focused for everybody. You know, I think I did the same thing I did every fight, before every fight. So that made me nervous. I peed in the corner. My nerves. I mean, I peed in the corner. If I don't pee in the corner, then I ain't gonna fight.
Just in your cup?
It was nervous, man. I'm nervous now. Listen, I was scared every time I stepped in the ring. I was scared. I mean, I was a bad man, but I was scared. I mean, you know, did you pee in the corner? You pee in the corner? No, you get nervous. You gotta go pee. Y'all been nervous before you have to pee, you know?
Hope that wasn't in the bucket where you rinse your mouth guard.
No, I just peed on the floor. I'm not going back, but no, that's the only time I ever thought that I was nervous. When I knew I was nervous, I peed on the floor. And I was nervous for every damn body I fought. Even when I fought Ali, I was nervous. So he's the only, I was afraid of everybody, nervous with everybody. I knew I could beat him, but I was just nervous. And I'm not going to carry on this conversation like George did. Okay.
Lennox, who made you pee in the corner?
No, I peed before I got in the ring. I know, Larry's doing everything opposite now. I wouldn't say anybody really made me nervous because, you know, after your first 10 fights, my first 10 fights was going to the bathroom, my stomach had butterflies all the time, and after 20 fights, didn't have to go to the bathroom anytime, but I still felt the butterflies in my stomach. And then after like 30 fights, it's like, okay, I've been through this 30 times already, so, you know, I'm used to it. I think, yeah, that's true. You know, in the course of your career, there's always the person that you're going to meet that's going to test you, and there's different people, different boxers in my career that tested me. And I knew that definitely Evander Holyfield would be a test for me because he's a warrior, and this man has like 3 different defenses, you know what I mean? I only have like 1, you know. He had grab defense, all these different defense. He had a good trainer too. So I think every fight, a guy that kind of matches your talent or is close to your talent is always a guy to be concerned about because you realize that this guy, you know, has that punch to take you out.
We've got literally 5 minutes left total. I'm going to give you one more question. You can all have a crack at this. Take whoever wants. As I said right off the top, the heavyweight division right now is compared to where the heavyweight division has been in history, which has been the glory division with some of the most exciting and biggest name and most famous boxers, all you guys included, it's a bit of a mess right now. Are we ever going to see a heavyweight division in boxing back the way it was when Larry was beating Muhammad Ali, when George was fighting Muhammad Ali, when you guys were facing each other, or is heavyweight boxing done?
Well, I'm sure that it'll be. I think boxing has an up and turn. You always have more good little guys than you have good big guys. It just takes some time. I think about 2 or 3 years of me rolling back, I just feel that it'll roll back.
You know, different eras bring on different talents, and I would say, you know, Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes' era, George Chuvalo's era, there was a lot of heavyweights around. And then, you know, you moved up to the next era, you got Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, Riddick Bowe. Then you look at this next era, which we're in right now, you got the Klitschko brothers. It seems like we're losing ground as we go along, but what I believe is, you know, I believe it like a volcano. Volcano erupts every once in a while. So that's what happens in boxing. Every once in a while you're gonna get a great superstar come erupting onto the scene. So we're just waiting for that next eruption.
I like to say,
First of all, I think one of the problems is that we don't have an American heavyweight champion, or at least a champion from Canada, or maybe perhaps in Europe. We have a champion really from Ukraine, and when Lennox would fight, or Evander, or Larry, or Muhammad, or Jockey Marciano, or Floyd Patterson, or Sonny Liston, or Mike Tyson, it was always publicity. Everyone who was a boxing fan knew what was going to happen in a couple of weeks, big title fight, and they were being informed via the newspapers, via the television, so people were aware of who was fighting. Now, with the Klitschko brothers, you might see a write-up after the fight. You don't see much, you don't see anything hardly before the fight, and after the fight, maybe 6 or 7 lines, and nobody really is aware of what they're doing or whatever. But even when you look at them, the Klitschko brothers are effective, I guess, because they're very awkward fighting people that big. They're like 6'8", 260 pounds, 270 pounds. They're big guys, and they like to lean on a guy. They're not exciting to watch. They're not exciting to watch. They're not like Mike Tyson. They're not like Rocky Marciano. They're not like Jack Dempsey. They're not like Joe Louis. They're not like Sonny Liston. They're not like these guys up here. They're not exciting. They're not exciting to watch. They simply aren't. And the heavyweight division is the division. Why? Because the heavyweight champion of the world is the real, true one champion of the world. If there's one champion of the world, it's got to be the heavyweight.
Because he can beat everybody else.
He can beat the little guys up. Even though the little guy could be a better fighter pound for pound, the big guy's going to win. So the one true champion of the whole wide world, forgetting about the weight classes, is the heavyweight champion. So when the heavyweight champion is the champion, these guys deserve the most respect. He's the guy that they know is the most feared. He's the guy, he is the man, right? So, but today, with the Klitschko brothers, nobody knows anything about them. So you got to know something about them. You have to have a bit of a following. You have to give people a chance to follow the fighter. And they don't follow, there's nothing much to follow. First of all, also they're not very exciting to watch. It seems like they throw a jab every half hour. And the best move seems to be to lean on a guy, break his back, in order to wear him down. They're not exciting. They're not.
Larry, last word to you. Will there ever be another Larry Holmes or Lennox Lewis or Evander Holyfield or George Chuvalo?
well, he's already another Larry Holmes, and he's at home hitting the speed bag, I think. He's not going to fight. But what I like to say, I like to thank all of you, and I like to thank my man here, Lennox Lewis, for bringing me, my wife, and my man up here, Jay Newman. Gives me a chance to meet different people and say, talk with different people. It gives me, it makes me feel good. And I want y'all to know that y'all all made me feel good today. I didn't mind. I don't mind signing no autograph. I don't mind talking about anybody. I just do it. I just hope that everybody's satisfied with what I do. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank all of you for being here to hear our story.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lennox Lewis, Larry Holmes,
Thank you.
George Chuvalo, Evander Holyfield, four of the greatest heavyweights of all time.
Thank you very much, Lennox, Evander Holyfield, and George Chuvalo.
I can remember the precise moment that boxing found me. It wasn't really a choice, but rather a realization.